Well, I thought that when you're married, you're married. There are no two ways to it, that, oh, it's an open marriage, is what marriage, is what marriage. I thought when you're getting into it, you have agreed, the two have agreed to work together, then it is just that. But I'm surprised that there are a couple of other things that are cropping up, well, based on our lifestyles, based on the pressures of life, that get us adopting some things that would appear not so good, according to, well, the standards of society. And these things, in a way, are being incorporated to, help us adjust and help us, just keep that marriage after all, in as much as, things that are being done within are not as beautiful. And so today we discuss open marriage, and I don't want to say that it's a bad thing. I'd love to understand what exactly this is anyway. And then we say, well, when it is nasty, when it's all not good, why not just park and ship, as opposed to staying there and now introducing other faces in the name of, this is not infidelity. We don't have a problem with that. We are comfortable with this arrangement. Just what is this? Welcome on board. It is that time that we introduce our very own Dr. Jane and Dr. Julius Kimani. They're here this morning to help us understand just what is open marriages and why is it that the society is embracing it as such today. Dr. Jane.
Yeah, if you're to talk about open marriages, we may not give it one specific definition because it's an acronym. It's just something that came up. We've not had an open marriage, a closed marriage.
Right.
And so, but however, the adopted name is meant to mean that you're in a marriage where you necessarily are not, can I say, intimately just limited to one partner.
Okay.
You're in a relationship where you live together, everything together, you have the same house, visions and everything, but you can go out, meet so-and-so, spend a night or two, as long as the other partner doesn't know who it is.
Okay.
And as long as the other part is also very important, as long as you don't get emotionally attached to that person.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's either the woman would feel like, tonight I'm not around, and the man is like, it's okay, it's an open marriage.
Not emotionally attached. Just how possible is this, for crying out loud? And when we're speaking of the scenario where, yes, you engage with this other party, and you're not emotionally attached, at this point, at this stage, are you emotionally attached to your partner? Now your real partner, your husband or your wife in any way?
Now you see, when we talk about open marriages, one, we are not advocating for that.
Yeah.
But what you find, people have discovered their relationship is not working and they are no longer excited in this relationship. And so that is why they are opting out for open marriages. So it's actually an indication that something is wrong in this marriage.
Yeah.
One person, sorry but that's the word, that the book that was written. There's a book written some time back called Ethical Slut. A slut is somebody more of selling yourself for something, for sex. But he was trying to lay the ground rules for open marriages to work.
Okay.
And one of them is that what Dr. Jen is saying here. No emotional attachment. But whether you like it or not, biologically, the moment you sleep with a person, there is an exchange and a release of hormones that connect you up. That is why you find somebody may say it was a one night, but you keep on remembering and probably wishing that you would go back to that one night because there was a connection. And so there is no way you can say no emotional attachment. So open marriages would, at the end of the day, be a fallacy because you are looking for somebody outside the relationship who you naturally have to like, because you can't connect with somebody outside who you don't like. You have to like. Then you're told, weka speed governor or intimacy governor. Don't fall in love. Now, it is impossible for that to happen. Now, beyond what Dr. Jenny is saying, it has even gone to levels where open marriage is no longer the issue of hiding. It is where the partner knows that I am with this so-and-so, and some of them even agree that, yes, this is your partner, and this is my partner. But the thing is, as you say, don't fall in love with them. And that is not workable.
Just why would someone or why would a couple sit down and decide that, you know what, let's get into this. It's all right. We agree that there could be a problem inside. And therefore, in most cases, there are other options of solving the problems. If not solving, there's an option of, wanting out. So why would they not decide to call it quits and stick to this relationship and have this open kind of arrangement?
I'll give several reasons. Number one, because some go out of it out of, like a peer thing.
Ah, okay.
It's like a peer thing. We've heard it happening. And the people are so easily influenced by wrong. They're simply lawless. There are people who are simply lawless. So whatever comes, they want to try it out. So there is that element. Number two, there is a social element. The society needs to have an image that you are married because of the benefits of the word married and the institution. So they're still in love with the institution of marriage, but not in love to be in the marriage. So what do? They keep a facade that will cover them to show that, we are okay, we are doing good. Number three is because of the children, because you realize we have children together. This thing between us is not working. We can go it the open way, and we stay together because children want mommy and daddy together, and they want the image all together. And finally, it's because of property and investment. Many people have invested lots together, and because of the investments, they discover now if we go our separate ways, so many things are in joint custody, joint agreements, joint investments. So the whole story of the divorce and what have you, we don't need to go that way. AKA, they are also what you may then call housemates, because what you share is a house. Yeah, inside you, as Daktari said, everything is broken. It's a shell, but on the outside it looks. I equate it to a broken thermos flask. It still looks very beautiful from the outside, but it is so crushed and broken on the inside. And so, as he said, the reason why people won't go away is because they have something to safeguard together.
Valid reasons, so to speak. I know there are a couple of others where the peer pressure and all of that are not necessary, but there are about 4 of them that you've mentioned that are valid. The kids, if you're to think about the investments, if you're to think about the struggles of Nairobi, and therefore it's cheaper to be in this home together as opposed to someone, going to get a house somewhere else and all that. They're somehow valid. And therefore, do they make it, or open marriages healthy?
Do you know, actually, you can never come to a place where you say there is health, because I was looking at research on open marriages, and you find quite a number of them come out and say we have worked out on rules of engagement, but eventually you find the rules of engagement are broken, because you have said, for example, you're not supposed to spend time more than maybe 2 or 3 times with this other person. Then of course they do that. You've already broken a rule. And you see, even a relationship, the rules cannot be kept. One broken rule leads to resentment, leads to anger. And so it is very, very hard. Number 2, one relationship, marriage alone, it's time consuming. Now you have introduced somebody else into that relationship. Now to balance that time becomes very, very hard, and it can be very challenging. And as you said, if there are problems in the relationship that you are looking to solve by getting outside that relationship, if this man is not enough for you, or this woman is not enough for you, they will never be enough. So there is no need of trying to please somebody so that go out and let us have open relationship. If this man does not feel like you are valuable enough, so he needs another woman so that he can like you or love you more, or this woman needs another man so that she can fall in love with you more, then you will never be enough. So I would say the best thing would be, then you'd rather go your ways and safeguard if it is a children, because you'd rather have divorce than sitting down and having your kids hearing that you have a date somewhere else.
And the dangers that come along with that.
And the dangers, of course, we are talking about the STDs.
Yes.
And there is no way you will have maybe a woman, for example, you're having a relationship, your husband has approved, and that other person is already agreed to come into this relationship, I'm very sure they have also other relationship. So you're putting the entire family into a bigger risk. So if we look at it, it is simply infidelity, what you would call infidelity, that is being qualified.
Terry Wanjiko, not her real name, a very close friend of mine. And so when I posted this poster, she was like, you know, Linda, you know, this has worked for me. And so therefore, I'm for it. I said, Terry, what are you trying to say? Say, you know what? You have been with me throughout my story, and why she says it has worked for her is because, well, they got to a point where things were not working in this marriage. They had a lot of things to protect. And so Terry says, you know, we get into this space where it's not working, but it's all right. We have to protect all these things. Go your way, do your thing, come back home. We're easy. I'm not going to question you. You will not question me. And then it worked that way. And then they realized there's actually nothing fulfilling outside. And therefore, this person gets to a point, you know what, actually, ule wangu too. Better the devil that I know. And today, they're back to it. And it appears as, you know, their family is back and everything is all rosy. And so to them, that appeared as though, you know what, those moments when someone tells you separate for a moment so that you can get to see whether you need this person. And so to them, that was separation. And then they realized that actually they're better together. And today they're better together. I don't know whether they are genuine. Terry, I don't know whether they are better in real sense, or it appears as though they are.
Now, I will want to say something. I like the conclusion of that story. Yeah. Because the conclusion is beautiful. She says, after trying out, they discovered better, the devil I know, according to her. But I would prefer not to use the terminology. But however, I look at it this way. When we talk about separation, and perhaps there's a problem in the marriage and you need separation, people do not separate to try out other relationships. They separate to heal the wound that had caused them to feel like we don't need to be together anymore, and perhaps to seek for counseling and to seek for guidance, not to go and hang around with another boy or another figure 8 girl because they feel like this one will heal me. No, that is called bleeding on another woman. Or bleeding on another man.
This rebound thing.
It's a rebound. It's actually bleeding because you have your wounds and everything. You're looking for somebody who can help you ease. I am happy again of the conclusion, but that is not the way to go for anybody else who is listening or watching us this morning, because if you do go that way, the repercussions may be bigger. Perhaps the success rate of that may be perhaps less than 5%. And you may not be successful to be part of the Terry success story. Yeah, so the best way to go is, if you want a separation, make it a legal separation. And with this separation, let it be, even if you want to abide in the same house, because there are separations where people choose to abide in the same house but different bedrooms. It is not where you go to sleep that doesn't matter. It is about the two of you going through the process of resolving the conflict separately. Because there are people who go that way. They've got a lot to protect. They've got a lot to protect. And they say, you know what? I am in this room, he's in this room. We've decided for the next several months, we are going that way. But not for you to go get another affair.
Right.
No. Sorry if I may interject. That's a naughty man or a naughty woman
just trying to justify,
who is trying to qualify and justify her actions or his actions.
All right. Well, hurts, but it's the truth. If we are to randomly imagine just how the percentage of, you know, how the relationships, the open or the numerous open relationships that are likely to end up in divorce in comparison to those ones that are likely to survive.
No, actually the percentage is very high.
Of the ones that end up in divorce?
Because at the end of the day, I look especially on men. On men, there is something we call the hero instinct in every man. The hero instinct is whereby a man wants to feel needed. And you find sex and love is not enough. Just by the fact that you go to that home and you feel there is something about you that woman or your wife loves. The moment you are getting into an open relationship, you know very well that if you have allowed your wife to go and have a relationship with another man, then you are not the hero in that home. you will know there are moments you'll be compared.
In fact, there are times I'm told that men really cannot sit down to imagine that their woman is with another man. So I don't understand how this then works.
It is just what we're trying to put relationship into the same thing like a car. That you can be able to change a car and drive one and then come back to the other one and you feel nothing. But this one you're talking about, you're looking at a woman and you know now she's eyeing you or weighing you on the basis of a scale whereby probably 1 to 10. Because especially your woman has gone out there, she has slept with the other man and she comes back. Deep inside there'll be that issue. You're being compared. And that will not work with any normal human being, especially a man. Because he feels he has lost his position of being the hero of that place. Now, the second part is that, you see, for any open relationship, according to the propagators of open relationship, there has to be proper communication. You have to say where you've gone to, you have to say what you're doing, and automatically any open communication will bring pain. Okay. Because when you say, by the way, we were with this guy yesterday, we spent 4 hours.
So those are the rules of the game. You have to be open.
That's the reality. You have to be so open. Okay. We spent 4 hours together. And it was really good, for example. Now imagine you are receiving that information, whether you are a woman or a man, you are receiving that information. That information, you may be taking it because you are probably even knew you went somewhere. But at the end of the day, when you sit down as a normal human being, and I say normal, it will hurt you. You'll begin to feel the pain, the jealousy of thinking, what could be the other person doing? And I'm not doing. Okay. So that's where the challenges come. Eventually, when you begin to sit down and analyze all those painful moments that you go through, you will lift up your hand and say, it doesn't have to work.
Those that have survived, can they ever be the same again?
At times you don't like sounding like prophets of doom. But it is good to be very honest that there are wounds that leave, wounds could be there and a wound will heal. We don't say that the wound will remain forever, but it will leave a scar. It will leave a scar. And anything can cause that scar to bleed once again. So I keep saying, like when I was talking about the peer pressure, there's an area that I know very well where friends, just agree, we are meeting together, put your car key somewhere. So the ladies will go and pick any car key. So meaning they're with that person for the time being. Yeah. And that thing began like a game, but it ended up with divorce. It was peer pressure. Okay. Ended up with divorce. Why? The wounds are still very deep. And I don't think they survive to be called marriages. They survive to be called society marriages. Yeah, they're marriages for society, where you're married for the sake of the society and for safeguarding the interests within the institution. Yeah.
And therefore, then how illegal is this, or how legal can it be? It becomes legal in your own entity upon agreement, or what?
You see that most of the times, I've had it where a woman gives up. You find at the end of the day, open marriages always start with one person. One person who is not happy in that relationship, and so they bring up a suggestion. Why don't we try this thing? And somebody may be put into the pressure of eventually submitting to that idea. So it never begins with 2 people, it begins with one person. And that one person who is suggesting that idea may be the one who will eventually enjoy more, because they have already made up their mind that this is the way I want to go. So this other person may not, the person whom it was suggested to, may not get into that depth, because in the beginning it was not their idea. So you find we cannot say it is legal in any way. Most time you find it is somebody there is somebody in that marriage who has given up. They lifted up their hands and there are women I've had who come and say, I would rather know that he's cheating on me with a particular woman than where he's moving up and down. So you find it is a place of surrender. I know I'll never change this man, so I'll just lift up my hands and flow with the river, because we have 17 kids and I can't leave them.
I was looking at that as though it's a liberal mind, but then I realized that it's a mind of surrender. And so we come back, discuss the liberal mind, where you can say, you know what, this is not acceptable in society, but how about we give it a shot and see where it ends us after this break.
Wondering what next in a crowded, confused and uncertain career market after KCSE? Worry no more. TV47, the fastest growing youth-targeted TV station across the 47 counties, brings you an entire month of career options and choice opportunities across all the leading universities and TVET institutions. We have put together a rich group of experts who will guide you through your career aspirations throughout the month of May. This will climax with a virtual career fair scheduled for the 28th of May at the University of Nairobi Auditorium. All relevant stakeholders are invited to reserve a seat via david.katiku@tv47.co.ke or careersfair@tv47.co.ke on 0791 999 883.
New Blue Band peanut butter. Made with 100% pure peanuts and a good source of omega-6. Grow healthy and happy kids with New Blue Band peanut butter.
Hey, now that's hitting the right notes. When life gets boring, we bring out our play. You see, playfulness is in our DNA. It's in the way we move and laugh. It's in the way we walk, the way we rock, and how we just don't stop. You feel me? We add color to everything, to every day and every dish, because the world needs our crazy. We're the different flavors that make life more exciting. We're the ones who add color to every moment. Fanta, color every moment.
Raukia siku njema na tunukiwa offers kila siku. Pata offers zote mahali pamoja ili uongeze zaidi, utume SMS zaidi na ubrowse zaidi.
Wewe usijali. Tuma namba ya kila supplier kwa hiyo soko. Enda job nitaongea na kila mmoja wao.
Very good. Piga *444 hash utunukiwe Credo double.
Raukia siku njema na tunukiwa offers kila siku.
Oh, hi. It's not what you're thinking. It's a cup of coffee. Coffee, movie. Together, coffee and movie. Every Sunday, 8 p.m. on TV47, where we bring you interesting, enticing people. Well, we've concentrated on musicians.
Yeah.
Producers.
So now I manage, because telemanagement and events management, I think, was my passion.
Right about now, we want to go beyond to the counties and to other countries. I'll see you. Let the sun stand still like Joshua time for 3 hours, but this time for only 1 hour. We bring you coffee with movie, interesting, enticing guests. I'll see you. Tunaweza anza tuna Mombasa, Kisumu, Nakuru, twende Uganda, Magufuli Land, TZ, you never know. It is coffee with movie. Jua unaweza enda sasa.
Okay.
TV47, the home of untold stories.
Welcome back. We still have Dr. Jane and Julius, the Kimanis, and we focus much on open marriages, expounding it some more, and we welcome your views. Remember, it's very important. Sometimes your experiences, they are helpful, and we get to have answers, and we also get to enlighten other people. They probably learn from our mistakes or learn from the good things that we've done. And so hashtag Morning Cafe at Linda_Lela TV47K is how you get to interact with us. The lines are open. You can as well call us live, running down on your screen. 22047 is the SMS short code, and we'd love to hear your feedback. We sample that as we proceed with the broadcast. And Dr. before we took that break, we're discussing that aspect of where you get drained, and out of the pressures of life and the succumbing to the pressure, you just say, this is beyond me, and therefore I cannot fight the same. This is probably what welcomes then the idea of that liberal mind, and I don't know whether it's liberal at all, where you decide it's okay now because I can't fight this, how about this option that appears like it would just keep things afloat after all.
Yeah, we can't call it liberal when it comes from a point of failure.
Okay.
We can call it a failed option. At times we like sounding very Western, socialized, and we look for names that will cover up for the sloth of morality, because when we get to a point and you say this marriage is not working, this relationship is not working, therefore I can try to be in a relationship with another man to keep this one afloat, it is simply moral decadence. Underline, moral decadence. You simply need to lift up your moral standards. You are simply trying to be moral justifiably. And there is nothing, that's a paradox. It's an oxymoron. You cannot be royal, you cannot be unfaithful while trying to keep the faith in the marriage. Yeah. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is this. Some of the mindsets that we have borrowed from different societies, we need to understand the foundation and the basis of them. Because at times we borrow so much because perhaps we think it worked somewhere. It's important to get counsel before you can go that direction. At the end of the day, you lose your respect, you lose your honor, you lose your stand in that same society. It's important that people look at the end product. Yes, I've done this because of now. And many people make, and we keep saying, they make permanent decisions out of temporal situations. This situation is temporal. Then you make a decision, I'm going out. That's so permanent. You'll not reverse it. Okay. Even if you say we are done, you have already done a permanent scar. It is irredeemable. So I keep saying, let us not look at a liberal mind. A liberal mind takes the right decision. And a liberal mind says, this is not working. If this marriage is not working, with my honor, I will step out, look for help. That is what we call honorable mind, honorable decisions, and honorably liberal, if we may call it anything like that. Okay. Yeah, you need to put honor, you need to key in honor, and you do not need to justify your immorality with a mindset.
Sometimes it is, and I like what Dr. speaks of, and sometimes it's just, you don't sit down to agree that this is an open marriage, but in your own personal space you tell yourself, what, I cannot fight this man, and therefore he will always be going out. And because he provides, and we are at that point where we can afford the basics and all that, instead of walking out of this marriage, how about I go and satisfy myself quietly? And understanding the damage that it can cause, you choose not to put it in broad daylight, but in your own special. And I'm telling you this because I have seen friends of mine that have rented homes somewhere. They just have a house somewhere to satisfy their needs and just get them to that moment for bentens and something of the sort. The husband has no idea, and sometimes even in chamas, this is what is discussed. It's all right. Anakusumbua, hakuna shida. We accept, move on. Jibambe. And I mean, I've received a couple of advices based on that. Keep your money, endo jibambe, come back home, be that wife.
You know what, that's happening. And it may look like a good solution for the temporary, because we are looking at the satisfaction of the emotion and the sex part, because most of it is not about money. But actually what is keeping this person in that marriage, it could be two things, the children and the money. But unfortunately, Being counselors, we have sat down with so many children
Yeah.
of people, women who are thinking they have hidden it all, that their children don't know. I'm doing this because my children, I'm protecting my kids. I don't want them to lose their father. I don't want to not to be in their life. But because I want them to be in the home, I will be doing this Kasai thing. And eventually the story leaks. And we find kids who come and talk to you and tell you, I've just discovered this is what my mother is doing. So you're sitting in a house and your kids are looking at you and you're thinking you have it all together lovely, but you're actually destroying them. The same people you're trying to protect, you are destroying them. Same thing with men. They don't realize that when they step out, you know, tunaolaga ni kama watoto ni wajinga, hawajui kitu. The networks that we have today, you have one person who just says, I saw your dad somewhere. And you, that time, you're moving out because you're like, me, I don't want to hurt my wife. She has refused with our rights. So I go sort myself out somewhere else. But the information still comes and leaks around. I would rather say, you know, when you look at open marriages, whether it is through consent or non-consensual, we are looking at something where people have refused to look to each other in the face and say, we are lying to each other. This thing is not working. We either look for solutions or we go our way, because that is the best way to go. Otherwise, eventually, many people are getting hurt, because even that person you are going to see secretly in that small place, eventually when they find a relationship where they need to move on, then they will also hurt you. So temporarily it may look okay, but in the long run it hurts more than you can ever imagine.
Sometimes you're in love with, not necessarily, you know, it gets to a point where you're done and dusted with this person. But like you say, they're children, but also they're the fears of losing this person, because, well, it was anchored on basis of love from the word go. And you really wished and hoped that this marriage would hold. And therefore you're used to this. I remember there's this person who used to tell me, you know, most of the times you're just used to this shirt of yours. And therefore sometimes you're attached to it. You don't even want to share it out. There's this one that you always wear, that you like it aside. And so I'd equate marriage and your partner to that. And therefore there's that fear of literally facing life without this person in the picture. You might not be attracted to them sexually and all that, because it's over, it's done and dusted, your heart is drained, you have been pained enough, but you still want to see them around. You still want them to, you still want to own them. And therefore sometimes you opt for that direction. But you know, for as long as it's going to keep this person there. So for as long as you are sure that, you know, this person is somehow part and parcel of you, people end up in such arrangements. Is it not a good thing anyway?
Nothing will ever make it a good thing, and no justification will make it right. However, looking at that situation, I would like to say that person who comes up with that argument, number one, is a very selfish person.
Okay.
Let us first start with that. Very selfish. You want to have your cake and eat it. You want this man to be around, hang around you, be around you. But for you, you want to do it your thing, but have him around you. You can never take a human being as an asset. You can never take a human being as an object. That's a word. As an object, where you say this object will hang around me because, you know, I still have this dress. It may not fit me anymore, but I still love it. I used to wear it when I was size 10. Now I'm size what, but I'll still keep it because I have an attachment. That is making somebody an object, where you keep them in spite and despite of the pain and of the situation. And I say many people are in love with the institution of marriage. That is being in love with an institution where you feel like, I like this person. I don't mind him being seen around me. I wouldn't even want him to be seen around anybody else. But because between the two of us, it is long dead, then let me get an option and come home and life goes a little continua.
Okay.
So what am I saying? It is very unfair for you, because number one, you're hitting yourself more, you're draining yourself more, You come back with more wounds, because wherever you go, you still get wounded. Number 3, you even come back with baggage. You go out, come up with a baggage. At the end of the day, you are a worse person than how you were in the beginning when you decided, let me go out to help resolve this conflict. So you don't go out to get, another person to fill in the gap. If it is about love, you don't love 2 people at the same time. That is basic.
Okay.
No, you can't love 2 people at the same time. You will like one and love the other one. So yes, you like your husband and love somebody else outside there. So I keep saying, it is a lie. Don't live a lie, because you'll get more wounded, more hurt, and honestly, it is infidelity under another name.
Dr. I don't know how this will sound, but as they would say, men are dogs in nature. And therefore, to them, that arrangement would be okay. Would be okay if it is them that, are doing this, because after all, that is what they do a lot. And in most cases, a woman who's not accustomed or is not wired to do that would have struggles and problems for the same. Is it true that, men will flourish more when it comes to such an arrangement, because after all, this is what they are wired to do in life?
I think that's a notion that because of probably men trying a relationship here and there, that's the nature.
Them the whole no attachment as such. In most cases, they do this easily and forget about it.
You see,
though you said it's not possible.
Do you know something? We may look at it in a very natural way, but doing the study, I was doing a study of the brain, the side effects of sexual relationships on the brain, and the reality of what God's word say, that we become one flesh with that person we sleep with. And every time a singer sang, and I think maybe they were not even aware of what they were singing, but they're saying, every time you go, you take a piece of me. That was a singer sang, and it resonates truly with what the word of God says. That's where you find a man will wake up in the morning, sleep with one woman and say no attachment, but something has left him. He goes and sleeps with another woman, something has left him. Eventually the conscience of feeling guilty has gone. And you find that this person can do anything. At the end of the day, when you are 50, you are 60, you are 70, and you come to the end of your time, you begin to look at what you have achieved in life in terms of the relationship, and that's where you find the emptiness. You have hurt so many people along the way, and the children that are looking at you, and so you do all this, suddenly are detached from you. You wonder when you are at your deathbed, no child is coming to see you, because they saw the pain you took their mother through. They saw the pain you took them through. And you begin to call them and you begin to threaten with curses. Oh, I will do this. So many people do it for the short term, but they don't see the long-term effect. And one statement made by, I think, a gentleman long time ago said, many men towards the end of days live a life of quiet desperation. Why are they desperate? Because they realized, I took it just like a normal thing. I would detach myself from this woman and jump into another woman. And eventually, when they sit down and begin to count on what their life has been, they find emptiness, total emptiness. So whether men are called dogs or not are called dogs, the thing is to look at the long-term effect. Where do you want to see the end? I like it when you look at most men, when they sit down and they are planning a business, they see the end. But when many men are sitting down to look at relationship, they don't look at the end. But the end always becomes bitter. And that is what we need to look at. When you're making any decision whether to step out and have a relationship, calculate a few things.
And as you calculate, it's interesting to note that however much, and that's the reason why I am glad that we're having this conversation, because any other person would have decided, no, that is not in the setup of marriage, not in the African, setup, and therefore we're not discussing that. But we're here discussing it because it is there.
It is there.
And many people it's happening, are embracing the same. You get online and you even find, prominent people speaking of scenarios where they're taking you through the same. They say, considering an open marriage, here's what to know. And the guidelines are there. So is it important then that we get to this point of acceptance?
Okay, let me say this. people need to understand, what am I getting myself into? I want to expound a bit from, a bit of psychology of sexual intimacy. There are two hormones that are released. They are called monogamous hormones. It is vasopressin and oxytocin. Vasopressin and oxytocin are released when people are having an intimate moment, and those two hormones are supposed to make you one.
Okay.
They bond you. And that's why, because of the hormones, you find there's even the effect in the mind, in the brain. Physically, there's a lot of effect on you emotionally. So it's important to know that anytime you take that step and you go out, there are hormones that you have left there that have bonded you with so many people. And because of that, you become a lesser of you. It's important for people to understand that anytime anybody goes out there and gets sexually intimate with somebody, the hormone vasopressin, oxytocin, which is supposed to make somebody monogamous, make you one, monogamous, is not released between you and that one night stand. Between you and that person you went to because you're in an open relationship. And what is the effect of that in somebody's life when it gets into different partners? We talk a lot about soul ties, which we may not be able to expound on now because soul ties are a big danger, but we also talk about being lesser of you and not having the strength. That's why even the good book says, men, do not waste your strength on many women. So here you're in an open marriage. It's not just the physical strength, it's even the strength for you to pursue your vision and attain your vision, to run and not to get weary, to focus and to get to what you're focusing to. So discover, because the bond is in too many places, emotionally there are too many wears and tears. Too many wears and tears. And anytime you meet, think or see this person, it's a rekindle of the same. It's a rekindle of the same burst of hormones. And that's why you find, even with exes, where people were intimate with their exes, they're actually a big danger to sit in a room and decide, because we didn't like each other, now we broke up, let's just have coffee. The coffee may end up differently because there are hormones that were exchanged between the two of you. So I would like to say this: do not stretch yourself so outside there, thin your life so down because you want to prove and justify a wrong moral decadence. That is not the way to go. Science has proven that it does not work. Any religion will tell you that it does not work. Right moral standing will tell you it does not work. Otherwise, you'd have been very proud as a couple to go and announce to your parents, mommy, your old mother and your old father, we are just living together, but now we're in an open relationship. Why is it so secret from the people who matter? We keep secret what we know is not right in the eyes of the society.
All right.
So in your own eyes as well, the effect on the long run, and that effect causes even a lot of wear and tear of your own system, your own body, putting down your immunity so low. There are so many things we'll discuss about that. So what I would like to tell a person, that is not the way to go. It is important that you love yourself more. Because if you love yourself here, you won't waste yourself on another man because this one did not work. What makes you think that that man is better? Then divorce, believe God for that man to marry you.
Which is not
And
practical.
they will not do so.
They will not do so.
Yeah, so I want to say, keep your head high. It works.
That other person, as we come to a close, and maybe get some points on how you avoid, reaching out to, or reaching to a scenario where you're going to agree on this. That other person, by that I mean, now there's Jane and there's Julius. And so they have decided that they're in this open kind of relationship. There's that other woman who knows that very well, because sometimes we don't hide. In most cases, you will come to me, you'll tell me, Linda, this and this and this is what is happening at my home, and it's open, and therefore if my wife shows up, there's no problem. You need not to worry. And you engage with this person, that other person. How do we take care of them?
Now you see, by the time the other person is coming in, they knew what they were coming into. And you see, for them, cheap things or free things are liked by people. The other person is likely to get into this scenario because they know I'm getting something out of it.
So there could be money.
There are no children, but there is money. There is a few enjoyable things around here. And you'll find, just like we say, when you see like during the seasons of politics, you'll find when politicians are dishing out money, there'll be crowds. And they will be happy because they're coming for free things.
And you know, one thing I realized, or I picked from that, is that it's actually expensive to hold this one. Because then you have to dish out something after all.
Definitely.
You have to have that other apartment.
No, it is not for people in some certain regions of the city.
Well put.
No, it is for leafy suburbs.
Yes.
It is for people who have an extra naughty shilling. That is very idle.
As we close, how do you avoid that anyway?
No, you know, I will say this. Be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Be so honest. You're looking for something extra because something is not working in you or in that relationship. And unless you first find a solution of what is not working, even if you try to jump from one place to another, you'll find that thing follows you. That shadow that keeps on tripping you will keep on following you all the way to the end, no matter how many people you sleep around or you have relationship with. You know, it's like most times you find people who divorce and they get married to another person are likely to divorce. The chances of divorcing rises up by 50%. If they divorce the second time, by the time they get to the third one, it rises up to 70 to 80% of divorce. Why? Because they never looked for a solution for what in the first made them divorce. Right. So I would say take an account of yourself and see the values that you carry and ask yourself, do I want one day to be weighed on the scale and be considered to be this way?
Wow. All right, so much feedback, but then how time flies. And then sometimes when you read the feedback, then you divert from the topic itself. And so at this point, I have to close it at that. Thank you so much, the Kimanis, Dr. Jane and Dr. Julius. It was good having you. It's always a pleasure having these conversations, and how much they help people out there and how much people open up, I think, is one thing that is really fulfilling. And therefore, whichever way you want to look at it, I'm sorry, open marriages do not work. I'm really sorry. They just don't work.
They don't work.
But if you have an extra coin, living in the leafy suburbs, enjoy. Make use of the money.
The right way.
The right way. All right, thank you.
Honorable
there are very many ways of enjoying, actually.
Honorable
Not
ways.
Yes, that's true.